English or any other language. Too close? No, it's good. Is repetitive. Is repetitive. So we use the same words again and again and again. Right. So similarly, the same words come again and again and again. And if we have the Quran open in front of us, and those same words come again, and we know the translation of it, then slowly but surely we will get to pick up on it, inshallah. We did Surah Dukhan last Friday, and now we are on Surah Jathiyah. Surah Jathiyah is the last surah of Juz 25. Okay, I believe it is Surah 45. Surah number 45, Juz 25. Or you can find Juz 26, and the surah right before Juz 26 starts, the last surah of Juz 25. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم حميم تنزيل الكتاب من الله العزيز الحكيم إن في السماوات والأرض لآيات للمؤمنين وفي خلقكم وما يبث من دابة آيات لقوم يوقنون واختلاف الليل والنهار وما أنزل الله من السماء من رزق فأحيا به الأرض بعد موتها وتصريف الرياح آيات لقوم يعقلون تلك آيات الله نتلوها عليك بالحق فبأي حديث بعد الله وآياته يؤمنون صدق الله العظيم رب اشرح لي صدري ويسر لي أمري واحلل عقدة من لساني يفقهوا قولي. This is the 6th surah out of 7 that begin with Hamim. There's one more surah, the next surah, Surah Ahqaf, which also begins with Hamim, and that is why these 7 surahs are termed Hawamim. Hamim from Huruf Muqatta'at, the individual letters, Wallahu a'lam bi muradihi, Allah knows best their meaning. Tanzilul Kitab, sent from Allah, or a revelation of the book from Allah, the mighty, the wise. Inna fis samawat, indeed in the heavens, wal ard, and the earth, la ayat, are signs, lil mu'mineen, for the believers. Ayat, plural of ayah. You say ayah of the Quran, ayat, plural of ayah, believers. Signs for the believers in the heavens and the earth. We go to national parks, we go to Zion's National Park, we go here and there, and we say, wow, look at these beautiful, look at how Allah Azza wa Jal has created. We are amazed by Allah's creation. But it's not just the national parks, that's my point. It's not just, you don't have to go to one of the national parks. You don't have to go to what is that park? Yosemite? Yes, it's all around you. It's all around you. وَفِي خَلْقِكُمْ, and even in your creation, وَفِي خَلْقِكُمْ وَمَا يَبُثُّ مِن دَابَّةٍ, and the fact that He has spread His creation, the creation that He has spread on the earth, from the lizard to the snake to the birds to whether it's a reptile or sea animal, mammal, there are signs, ayat liqawmi yuqinun, for those who have faith. وَاخْتِلَافِ اللَّيْلِ وَالنَّهَارِ, ikhtilaf, difference, وَاخْتِلَافِ اللَّيْلِ, in the changing of the night and day. In another place, Allah mentions, يُولِجُ اللَّيْلَ فِي النَّهَارِ, right? He merges the night into day, and He merges the day into night. Where do we use the word merge? When driving, right? You see the sign merge, and you see how one lane is getting narrower, narrower, and narrower, while the other one is, so that's called merge. Allah Azza wa Jal merges the night into day. It just doesn't happen that one instant it's night and one instant, the next instant it's day. Imagine what would happen if it was daylight, and then all of a sudden, with the flip of a switch, it became dark. Is that what happens? No. It's getting dark outside, but it's happening slowly. Slowly. That's called merging. If it happened instantaneously, then there would be thousands of accidents every single day as soon as it became dark. Right? Imagine you're driving, all of a sudden, it's dark. It doesn't happen. Similarly, at daylight, when the sun rises, happens slowly. وَاخْتِلَافِ اللَّيْلِ وَالنَّهَارِ وَمَا أَنزَلَ اللَّهُ مِنَ السَّمَاءِ, and what Allah has sent from the sky, مِنْ رِزْقٍ, of provision. What is meant by here? Rain, because the very next word says فَأَحْيَا بِهِ الْأَرْضِ, that He has brought, فَأَحْيَا, He has brought to life the earth, بَعْدَ مَوْتِهَا, after its death. And what can do that? Rain can do that. Water can do that. Once the earth has died, it's become parched, hasn't rained for years, Allah Azza wa Jal brings it to life. وَتَصْرِيفِ الرِّيَاحِ, and in the changing of the winds. Changing, tasrif. Tasrif. What do you call a money exchanger in Saudi? You see the sign? What is it? Sarraf. Sarraf. Sarf, to change. Tasrif. Wa tasrif al-riyah. Half the year you have easterly winds, which help the ships sail east. And then the other half of the year you have westerly winds, which push the ships to sail west. This was before the steam engine was invented, and for thousands and thousands of years, people sailed using wind, right? Wind power is now, whatever was a necessity has become a luxury. Now sailing by sheer wind power is what? Is for the rich and famous, right? But before the steam engine, before it was automated in the 1700s, 1800s, you had wind. You were at the mercy of the winds. وَتَصْرِيفِ الرِّيَاحِ آيَاتٌ لِقَوْمٍ يَعْقِلُونَ, are signs for people who understand. تِلْكَ آيَاتُ اللَّهِ, these are signs of Allah, نَتْلُوهَا عَلَيْكَ بِالْحَقِّ, that we recite to you with truth. فَبِأَيِّ حَدِيثٍ, you say hadith, Quran, hadith. فَبِأَيِّ حَدِيثٍ, which message are you, بَعْدَ اللَّهِ, after Allah, وَآيَاتِهِ, and His signs, after Allah Azza wa Jal has exposed His signs, are you going to believe in? If these are not enough to convince you, then what else would be able to convince you? وَيْلٌ لِكُلِّ أَفَّاكٍ أَثِيمٍ, woe to every afak, imposter, athim, sinner. يَسْمَعُ آيَاتِ اللَّهِ, he hears the signs of Allah. Pay attention to this word, يَسْمَعُ. We're going to come back to it. يَسْمَعُ آيَاتِ اللَّهِ, he hears the signs of Allah. Tutla alayhi, being recited upon him. Tutla from tilawat. Don't we say tilawat? Right? That's tutla alayhi. Thumma yusirru, then he insists, mustakbiran, on his arrogance. Mustakbiran from kibr. Do you see the letters kaf, ba, ra? That's where you get kibr. Okay? One word in Arabic can have, generally speaking, 2,700 forms. One single word can have, like you have run, ran, running. How many, what that's about it. You have to add he is running, she is running, right? You have to add other words, right? But in Arabic, you don't have to add he or she or was or is. The word itself will change. And how many? 2,700. Mustakbiran. How many words can you make from here? Kibr, akbar, Takabbur, which is arrogance. Kabir, big, right? And what are the root letters? Same 3 root letters. Kaf, Ba, Ra. Ka'allam yasma'ha, as if he has not heard it. Again, yasma'ha. Remember the word I pointed out to? Yasma'u ayatillah, he hears the signs of Allah. And again, what word comes? Ka'allam yasma'ha, as if he has not heard it. فَبَشِّرْهُ بِعَذَابٍ أَلِيمٍ, give him the glad tidings of a painful punishment. وَإِذَا عَلِمَ مِنْ آيَاتِنَا شَيْئًا, and when he comes to know of our signs, knows something, learns something of our signs, اتَّخَذَ هُزُوًا, he makes it into a joke. He turns it into a joke. Why would I want to go to Jannah? In Jannah, there's only boring people, Sufis. Jahannam is where all the fun people, where all the daredevils are. He turns it into what? A joke. أُولَٰئِكَ لَهُمْ عَذَابٌ مُهِينٌ, for them is a muheen, a humiliating punishment. مِنْ وَرَائِهِمْ جَهَنَّمْ, before them is Jahannam. وَلَا يُغْنِي عَنْهُمْ مَا كَسَبُوا شَيْئًا, and what they have earned, مَا كَسَبُوا, kasb, what they have earned will not yughni, will not help them shay'a, in the least. Wala mattakhadhu min dunillah, and what they have taken other than Allah as awliya. What's awliya? Wali, protectors, helpers. What they have taken, adopted in this world as helpers and protectors will not help them against Allah. وَلَهُمْ عَذَابٌ عَظِيمٌ, and for them is a great punishment. هَذَا هُدَى, this is guidance. وَالَّذِينَ كَفَرُوا, and those who disbelieve بِآيَاتِ رَبِّهِمْ, in the signs of their Lord, لَهُمْ عَذَابٌ مِّن رِجْزٍ عَلِيمٌ, for them is a abomination, is a punishment, a painful punishment. Allahu alladhi sakhara lakumul bahr, Allah is the one who has sakhara, subjected for you the sea. لِتَجْرِيَ الْفُلْكُ فِيهِ بِأَمْرِهِ, so that the ship sails with his command. وَلِتَبْتَغُوا مِنْ فَضْلِهِ, and that you seek his fadl. His fadl means? Yes, his blessings. Here it would mean what? Mula, money, income, rizq, right? Even today, with all the means of transportations that we have, 90% of the goods that are transported in the world are done by sea. Even today. And one of the reasons why there's a shortage of goods in the market is because the goods arrive at the ports, but there's no way to bring them inland. You know how many trailers, the trailers that use, like an 18-wheel truck, right? It has a container on it, right? One container, so one truck can haul one container. How many containers can you load on one ship? 18,000. You can load 18,000 containers on one ship. That means you would need 18,000 trucks to unload one ship. And one of the reasons for why there's a backlog, right, in the goods reaching us, because there's no real waterways inside continental US. Besides the Mississippi running from north to south, there is no waterways running east to west to transport the goods. If there was waterways east and west transporting goods, then we wouldn't be dependent upon trucks or trains. So even today, it's the sea and it's the ships. لِتَجْرِيَ الْفُلْكُ فِيهِ بِأَمْرِهِ وَلِتَبْتَغُوا مِنْ فَضْلِهِ, and to seek the bounty of his Lord. وَلَعَلَّكُمْ تَشْكُرُونَ, so that you might be grateful. وَسَخَّرَ لَكُمْ مَا فِي السَّمَاوَاتِ وَمَا فِي الْأَرْضِ جَمِيعًا مِّنْ, and has subjected to you. That means it is at your service, as your disposal, for you to benefit from and to use, not to abuse, but to use and to benefit from. As Nabi sallallahu alayhi wa sallam said, "Ad-dunya khuliqat lakum wa antum khuliqtum lil akhirah." The dunya has been created for you, and you have been created for the hereafter. And has subjected for you whatever is in the heavens and whatever is in the earth, jami'an min, all of it. I was hearing something that they're trying to see how they can, there's expensive metals on in the cosmic debris, right? Like platinum and things that are worth more than that. And it's not just the monetary value, it's how they can extract from this moving cosmic debris, whether it's meteoroids, how they can extract these precious metals in space while they are moving and bring those precious metals to earth. That's fine. That's what Allah wants you to do. وَسَخَّرَ لَكُمْ مَا فِي السَّمَاوَاتِ. He has subjected to you whatever is in the heavens. It's for you. Go for it. وَسَخَّرَ لَكُمْ مَا فِي السَّمَاوَاتِ وَمَا فِي الْأَرْضِ جَمِيعًا مِّنْ إِنَّ فِي ذَلِكَ لَآيَاتٍ. Indeed, in it there are signs لِقَوْمٍ يَتَفَكَّرُونَ, for those who think. قُلْ لِلَّذِينَ آمَنُوا. Say to the believers, يَغْفِرُوا, that they should forgive. لِلَّذِينَ لَا يَرْجُونَ أَيَّامَ اللَّهِ. Those who do not have hope, لَا يَرْجُونَ أَيَّامَ اللَّهِ, on the days of Allah. This is a term that some mufassirin have used. Ayyamullah, ayyamullah or ayyamillah, and ayatullah. One is the signs of Allah and one is the days of Allah. And they have basically taken the term the days of Allah from this ayah and other places where Allah says the days of Allah. So we have been reading the signs of Allah, and you have the days of Allah. Days of Allah would be when punishment came upon the people, right? Those were the days of Allah. For example, the previous nations that were destroyed, that were exterminated by the wrath of Allah. Or the days of Allah could be referring to the hereafter also. They do not have hope in the days of Allah. لِيَجْزِيَ قَوْمًا. Why? Allah will recompense them. Allah will give them what they deserve, what is due to them, بِمَا كَانُوا يَكْسِبُونَ, because of what they have earned. مَنْ عَمِلَ صَالِحًا. Whoever does good, فَلِنَفْسِهِ. It is to his own benefit. Li, lam here is for manfa'ah, for his own benefit. If a woman asa'a, and whoever does evil, fa'alayha, it goes against him. He doesn't hurt anyone but himself. For example, if a person smokes, it goes against him. He's hurting his health. He is blackening his lungs. He is putting himself at risk for cancer, right? Yeah, secondary smoke, I know, that's also, he might be hurting other people, but the point is that a person's actions either benefit him or hurt him. Man amila salihan, whoever does good, falinafsihi, it is to his own benefit. Waman asa'a fa'alayha, and whoever does evil, fa'alayha, it is to his own detriment. It is against him. Thumma ila rabbikum turja'un, then you will be returned to your Lord. وَلَقَدْ آتَيْنَا بَنِي إِسْرَائِيلَ الْكِتَابِ, and indeed we have given Bani Israel the kitab, وَالْحُكْمَ, and power, وَالنُّبُوَّةِ, and prophethood. You can say the best of both worlds. Allah Azza wa Jal gave them religious authority and He gave them temporal authority. They had prophets, continuous, unbroken chain of prophets. Not one, but many at a time. Sometimes 2, 3, 4, 5 dozen, 2 dozen prophets. 40 prophets at a single time. Imagine. All the way from Musa alayhi salam to Isa alayhi salam. Unbroken chain of prophets. How many? It is estimated that 80,000 prophets were sent. And Dawood alayhi salam, from the time of Dawood alayhi salam, prophets were also kings. Dawood alayhi salam was the first prophet who was a Nabi and a king. وَلَقَدْ آتَيْنَا بَنِي إِسْرَائِيلَ الْكِتَابَ وَالْحُكْمَ وَالنُّبُوَّةَ and prophethood. وَرَزَقْنَاهُمْ مِنَ الطَّيِّبَاتِ and we provided them with طيبات, with the good things of this world. وَفَضَّلْنَاهُمْ and we gave them preference عَلَى الْعَالَمِينَ over the worlds. And this also is mentioned in Surah Baqarah twice. يَا بَنِي إِسْرَائِيلَ اذْكُرُوا نِعْمَتِيَ الَّتِي أَنْعَمْتُ عَلَيْكُمْ وَأَنِّي فَضَّلْتُكُمْ عَلَى الْعَالَمِينَ. وَآتَيْنَاهُمْ and we gave them بَيِّنَاتٍ مِنَ الْأَمْرِ clear signs. فَمَا اخْتَلَفُوا they did not differ اختلاف فَمَا اخْتَلَفُوا إِلَّا except مِن بَعْدِ مَا جَاءَهُمُ الْعِلْمِ after ilm had come to them. In other words, ilm was supposed to be a source of bringing people together, but it became a source of creating friction amongst them. بَغْيًا بَيْنَهُمْ why? Because out of animosity with each other. And we have that, unfortunately, in the Muslim Ummah today, where you have ilm, where people basically make their groups according to, should I say, their emphasis on one ayah of the Quran or a few ayahs. So each group puts its own emphasis on certain verses. Without naming groups. And if you were to attend one of the groups, you could almost be guaranteed to hear one of those verses of the Quran being recited at the beginning of their speech. And if you went to another group from amongst the Muslim Ummah, you sat in their lecture, it is almost guaranteed that you would hear one of their verses, their favorite verses, being recited before one of their lectures. And if you went to a third group, it is almost guaranteed that you will hear one of their selected few favorite verses being recited before their lecture. In other words, they have knowledge, but they're using that knowledge to what? To divide. فَمَا اخْتَلَفُوا they did not differ, they did not divide amongst themselves إِلَّا مِن بَعْدِ مَا جَاءَهُمُ الْعِلْمِ except after knowledge had come to them. بَغْيًا بَيْنَهُمْ out of animosity, بغض. That's where you get بَغْيًا. إِنَّ رَبَّكَ يَقْضِي indeed your Lord يَقْضِي بَيْنَهُمْ will judge between them يَوْمَ الْقِيَامَةِ on the day of judgment فِي مَا كَانُوا فِيهِ يَخْتَلِفُونَ in what they used to differ. Allah will judge. ثُمَّ جَعَلْنَاكَ عَلَى شَرِيعَةٍ مِّنَ الْأَمْرِ then we made you, O Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wasallam, ala sharia on the path, the clear path. Sharia means the path that leads to water linguistically. Ala shari'atin min al-amr on the clear path of min al-amr. You can translate amr here as religion. Fattabi'ha so follow it. Wala tattabi' ahwa alladhina la ya'lamun and do not follow the desires of those who do not know. Ahwa, the desires of those who do not know. This is one explanation is this is hypothetically speaking. Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam would never, it's unthinkable, it's unimaginable that he would ever follow the desires of those who don't know. Right? The other is, that's one. But so Allah Azza wa Jalla is speaking hypothetically that if you were ever to do it, لَإِنْ أَشْرَكْتَ, O Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, if you were to ever commit shirk, would Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam commit shirk? Quran says, لَإِنْ أَشْرَكْتَ, if you were to commit shirk, لَيَحْبَطَنَّ عَمَلُكَ, then your good deeds would go in vain. All your good deeds would be nullified. That's hypothetically, that no one is above Allah's law. As you say to a police officer, that even if a police officer were to do this, then he would suffer the same fate, even though you have full confidence that the police officer would never break the law. The other is that in the addressee, the mukhatab, there's many verses like this, so what the explanation I'm giving, which could be applicable to all such verses where Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam is being addressed. The second explanation is, you say in Urdu, you want to scold your daughter-in-law, but you can't, so you scold your daughter in front of your daughter-in-law. You scold your daughter in front of your daughter-in-law, but the real intent is who? The daughter-in-law, but you can't scold her. So that's, in other words, Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam is not the mukhatab, is not the addressee. Who are the real addressees? We are. إِنَّهُمْ لَن يُغْنُوا عَنْكَ مِنَ اللَّهِ شَيْئًا. Indeed, they cannot, yughnu anka, they cannot avail you, they cannot help you in any way against Allah in the least. وَإِنَّ الظَّالِمِينَ, and indeed the wrongdoers, بَعْضُهُمْ أَوْلِيَاءُ بَعْض, they are protectors of one another. وَاللَّهُ وَلِيُّ الْمُتَّقِينَ. But see, their protection is only in this world. They will try to protect one another in this world. In the hereafter, there's each one for himself, nafsi, nafsi. No one will be able to help anyone. But in contrast, Wallahu waliyul muttaqeen, Allah is the wali. Allah is the protector of the muttaqeen. Allah's protection comes in handy in this world and in the hereafter. Hada basair, this is evidence linnas, for the people, wahudan, and guidance, wa rahma, and mercy, liqawmi yuqinun, for those who have faith. Am hasiba alladhina ijtarahu as-sayyi'at, those who have done evil, those who mustered up the courage to do evil, do they think, hasiba, from what? Hisab. Do they think, am hasiba, an naj'alahum kalladhina amanu wa amilu salihat, that we will make them, we will put them at par with those who believe and do good deeds. Sawa'am mahyahum wa mamatuhum, that equal would be their life and their death would be one and the same. Sa'a ma yahkumun, evil is their judgment. The person who had the opportunity to engage in haram income, but he said no, I rather live a life of poverty, but I am not going to indulge in haram. And that person and the person who indulged in haram and lived his life in luxury and comfort and enjoyed it to the fullest, they're both going to find themselves in Jannah. What's the point? That would go against Allah's adl, his system of justice. وَخَلَقَ اللَّهُ السَّمَاوَاتِ وَالْأَرْضَ بِالْحَقِّ, Allah has created the heavens and the earth بِالْحَقِّ, in truth. In other words, with justice. The translation here could be with justice. And we just mentioned the connection, justice. Because if that would go against Allah's system of justice. Bil-haq is with justice. Or with a purpose. Another explanation of haq is what? With a purpose. It's not useless. Allah has not created the heavens and the earth in vain, as la'iba, as a play, as a form of amusement. وَخَلَقَ اللَّهُ السَّمَاوَاتِ وَالْأَرْضِ بِالْحَقِّ, Allah has created the heavens and the earth for a purpose. وَلِتُجْزَى, and the third explanation is in truth. In other words, Allah is the one who has created the heavens and the earth. This is no lie. وَلِتُجْزَى, why? لِتُجْزَى, to recompense kullu nafs, every soul, bima kasabat, of what it has earned. Kasb. What is kasb? Earned. It's written on the Pakistani currency. Kasbe rizke halal ibadat hai. Kasbe rizke halal ibadat hai. Earning rizke halal is worship. That's written on the currency. Kasb. We'll come to the questions. We'll come to the questions at the end. وَلِتُجْزَى كُلُّ نَفْسٍ بِمَا كَسَبَتْ وَهُمْ لَا يُظْلَمُونَ, and they will not be wronged. No one will be wronged. Judge, sometimes he might judge fairly, and sometimes he might not. We have faith in the justice system, and generally speaking, judges here, they do judge fairly, but there is a possibility that some judge, he might have a bias. And it's been, through surveys, it's been proven that a black person has a bigger chance of being sentenced, and a higher sentence for the same crime compared to a white person. Because you have records and they see that. It's a fact. It's not an opinion. A black person and a white person committing the same crime, the jury is more likely to the jury is more likely to find the black person guilty. People do have even unconscious or subconscious bias. So there is a possibility, even with a justice system that is generally fair, let alone our countries where judges could be bribed. But here, with Allah, لِتُجْزَى كُلُّ نَفْسٍ بِمَا كَسَبَتْ وَهُمْ لَا يُظْلَمُونَ. You will see this again and again and again, a couple hundred times without any exaggeration, that no injustice will be done. No injustice will be done. أَفَرَأَيْتَ مَنِ اتَّخَذَ إِلَهَهُ هَوَاهُ. Have you seen that person who has made his desires his God? And we covered this ayah in the Friday khutbah today under the 3 types of nafs. That there is nafse, which one was the first? Nafse ammara. That he basically ammara, from amir, ammara, he commanding nafs. He does whatever his nafs commands him to do. Halal or haram, he couldn't care less, he does it. Why? Because he feels like it. He has the desire for it, and he does it. Then you have a second type of nafs, which is nafse lawama, which is basically a regretful nafs. He does the sin. Generally speaking, he stays away from sin. He stays away from haram. But at times he falls to his temptation and he commits the haram. But he has regrets. Why did I do it? Why did I do it? And the third is nafs mutma'inna. Nafs mutma'inna means a content, nafs that is content, and he is protected. He has reached such a level of purity, tazkiyah of his heart, that he does not fall into temptations. Not that he is immune from shaitan, for no one is immune from shaitan, but his nafs cannot get the better of him. So this person who Allah is saying, أَفَرَيْتَ مَنِ اتَّخَذَ إِلَهَهُ هَوَاهُ. Have you seen that person who has taken his desires as his God? Which nafs would this fall under? Nafse ammara. Nafse ammara. That he just follows his desires. In other words, he obeys his nafs like he should obey God. وَأَضَلَّهُ اللَّهُ عَلَىٰ عِلْمٍ. And Allah puts him astray ala ilm, despite his knowledge. And we had 2 explanations for ala ilm, covered last time in Surah Dukhan. One is despite Allah Azza wa Jal knowing, despite Allah's knowledge. And the other is despite his knowledge, even though he has knowledge, but his knowledge is of no benefit to him, and Allah Azza wa Jal leads him astray. وَخَتَمَ عَلَى سَمْعِهِ. And Allah puts a seal on his heart. I'm sorry, وَخَتَمَ عَلَى سَمْعِهِ. Allah puts a seal on his hearing, And then the second word is وَقَلْبِهِ, on his heart. Why does the word sam'ihi, hearing, come first before heart? Because what was the emphasis in the beginning? Remember? Yasma'u. Yasma'u. He hears the signs of Allah. Right? Kallam yasma'ha. As if he has not heard it. So the emphasis from the very beginning of the surah was on hearing. So here Allah Azza wa Jal puts hearing before heart. In Surah Baqarah, خَتَمَ اللَّهُ عَلَىٰ قُلُوبِهِمْ. Heart comes first, hearing comes second. خَتَمَ اللَّهُ عَلَىٰ قُلُوبِهِمْ وَعَلَىٰ سَمْعِهِمْ. Why? Because the emphasis there is heart, the context. وَجَعَلَ عَلَىٰ بَصَرِهِ غِشَاوَةً. And puts a curtain over his eyes. A curtain over his eyes, because you don't need to see. A person hears from all directions. correct? He hears from north, south, east, west, right, left, above, below. So would putting a curtain be of any benefit to block the hearing? Would putting a curtain be of any benefit to block hearing? No. Putting a curtain would block your sight, but it would not block your hearing. But a seal, so Allah puts a seal on his hearing and on his heart. Rishawatun. And we have explained this before, but just for the benefit, because we're going to, inshallah, finish. This is a process, it's been a lengthy process, started some 10, 12 years ago. But we have explained this before, that it's not that Allah Azza wa Jal, the fault lies or the blame lies with Allah, that Allah has put a seal on his heart and Allah has put a seal on his hearing. And now this person, he's what? He's doomed forever. What can this poor person do when Allah has put a seal on his heart? Right? Someone might raise this objection. The answer is very simple. It's not that Allah Azza wa Jal put a seal on his heart. Now he's gone astray and he's doomed forever. No, he chose the wrong path. And he walked on the wrong path for the longest time ever. And he was called back to the straight path again and again and again and again. But he insisted, and he kept on insisting on staying on the wrong path. Then what? It would be the likes of Abu Jahl and the likes of Abu Lahab, right? What would you say? Then a time comes where Allah puts a seal. In other words, Allah knows through his infinite knowledge. It's not that Allah caused it. Knowing something is different than causing it, right? For example, if you see and this helps in understanding taqdeer. If you see a banana peel on the sidewalk, and you have a pretty good idea that the next person who walks is going to step on that banana peel and slip and fall, does that mean you caused it? No. It's in Allah's knowledge. It's in Allah's knowledge that this person is never going to come back to the straight path. Now Allah puts what? A seal on his heart. Now there is a seal, a permanent seal on his heart. Why? Because it's in the knowledge of Allah that this person is not going to come back. Not that Allah caused him to go astray, but he chose the wrong path himself. أَفَلَا تَذَكَّرُونَ, do they not take heed? وَقَالُوا, and they say, مَا هِيَ إِلَّا حَيَاتُنَا الدُّنْيَا, this life is nothing, this dunya is nothing. إِلَّا حَيَاتُنَا, مَا هِيَ إِلَّا حَيَاتُنَا الدُّنْيَا, this is nothing but this life. There is no hereafter, this is it. نَمُوتُ وَنَحْيَا, we are going to live and die. وَمَا يُهْلِكُنَا إِلَّا الدَّهْرِ, and it's only like you have an expiration date on a product, it's only time that with the passing of time, we die. It's with the passing of time we die. This is what you would call purely a materialistic point of view. Of how there are many people in the world today, there's no shortage of people who don't believe in the hereafter, and they say, it's just person dies. It's not that it was written for him, or that God took his soul. We don't believe in such talk. It's what? He died from heart attack. He died from cancer. He died from this. He died from that. Has nothing to do with God or belief in the life hereafter. وَمَا يُهْلِكُنَا إِلَّا الدَّهْرِ. And I heard this myself when Elon Musk was asked, why is he so keen on space exploration? And his answer was pretty much, وَمَا يُهْلِكُنَا إِلَّا الدَّهْرِ. He said, with the passing of time, our chances of being exterminated as a human race increases. That was his answer. So it's better that we find a different place, a different planet, before some meteorite comes and destroys us all. That was Elon Musk's answer. I heard it myself. When he was in an interview, he was questioned, why is he spending millions and billions on space exploration? Because he said, we as a human species are going to eventually, what is it, like dinosaurs, become extinct. We are going to become extinct with the passing of time. So it's better that sooner than later, it's better that we find a different planet to inhabitate. وَمَا لَهُمْ بِذَلِكَ مِنْ عِلْمٍ. They have no knowledge of it. إِنْ هُمْ إِلَّا يَظُنُّونَ. They are only guessing, conjecturing. وَإِذَا تُتْلَى عَلَيْهِمْ آيَاتُنَا بَيِّنَاتٍ. When our verses are recited upon them, مَا كَانَ حُجَّتُهُمْ. Their only proof, hujjat bazi, مَا كَانَ حُجَّتَهُمْ. Their only proof is إِلَّا أَنْ قَالُوا. But the only thing they come up with is to say, to be abaina, bring our forefathers, in kuntum sadiqin, if you are truthful. They would say, bring our forefathers alive from their graves and tell us that they were wrong all this time. How could our forefathers who had been following idolatry for thousands of years, how could they be wrong? How could they be wrong? And you, the new kid on the block, you are saying that you are right, and our forefathers, what they have been following for 1,000+ years, have been wrong. Bring our forefathers alive to tell us that they were wrong and you are on the true path. قُلِ اللَّهُ يُحْيِيكُمْ. Say, Allah will yuhyikum, will give you life. ثُمَّ يُمِيتُكُمْ. Then will cause you to die. ثُمَّ يَجْمَعُكُمْ. Then He will gather you إِلَى يَوْمِ الْقِيَامَةِ, on the day of judgment. لَا رَيْبَ فِيهِ. In which there is no doubt. وَلَكِنَّ أَكْثَرَ النَّاسِ لَا يَعْلَمُونَ. But most of the people do not know. وَلِلَّهِ مُلْكُ السَّمَاوَاتِ وَالْأَرْضِ. To Allah belongs the dominion, the authority, the kingdom, the sovereignty. My preferred translation, sovereignty. To Allah belongs the sovereignty of the heavens and the earth. وَيَوْمَ تَقُومُ السَّاعَةِ. And the day, the hour will be established. يَوْمَئِذٍ. On that day, يَخْسَرُ الْمُبْتِلُونَ. The falsifiers, those who did wrong, will be يَخْسَر. What is يَخْسَر? خَسَارَ, خُسْرَان. Will be losers, will be at loss. وَتَرَى كُلَّ أُمَّةٍ جَاثِيَةٍ. And you will see that every ummah is Jathiyah, and that's where the surah gets its name from, Surah Jathiyah, on its knees. When a person is defeated and he has accepted his defeat, and in the context of being, for example, in a military campaign in the olden days, the defeated soldiers would be what? On their knees. And if they were not shown any mercy, if they were unlucky and they were not shown any mercy from the conquering army, they would all be decapitated, and they would accept their fate of being decapitated because they have lost. So Jathiyah means on your knees. وَتَرَى كُلَّ أُمَّةٍ. Every ummah will be on Jathiyah, on their knees. Kulla ummah. What is the synagogue here? The name 𝘾𝙊𝙉𝙊𝙒. And how do they translate it? It's the largest synagogue here in Utah, 𝘾𝙊𝙉, right here on I-80. 𝘾𝙊𝙉 means all my people. Very similar to what? Kullu ummah. وَتَرَى كُلَّ ummah. And you will see every ummah Jathiyah, on its knees. Kullu ummah. Every ummah. Tud'a, from da'wah. Tud'a will be called ila kitabiha, towards its book. One explanation, the people of Bani Israel, they will be called towards the Torah. Was this Torah not given to you? Nasara will be called towards Injil. Was this Injil not given to you? And the Ummah of Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam will be called towards the Quran. Was this Quran not given to you? Another explanation is towards its record of deeds. Right? Al-yawma tujzaun. Today you will be recompensed. Tujzaun from what? Jaza. Ma kuntum ta'malun amal. Ma kuntum ta'malun, what you used to do. Hada kitabuna. This is our book, our record, the one the angels have been keeping. يَنْتِقُ عَلَيْكُمْ بِالْحَقِّ, that will speak against you with truth. Inna kunna nastansikhu ma kuntum ta'malun. We used to record what you used to do. فَأَمَّا الَّذِينَ آمَنُوا, those who believed, وَعَمِلُوا الصَّالِحَاتِ, and did good deeds, فَيُدْخِلُهُمْ رَبُّهُمْ فِي رَحْمَتِهِ, their Lord will enter them in His mercy. ذَلِكَ هُوَ الْفَوْزُ الْمُبِينُ, that is the clear success. Mubin, what is mubin? From bayan. You hear bayan, right? There will be a bayan. What is bayan? Speech. What does speech do? It clarifies. Mubin. وَأَمَّا الَّذِينَ كَفَرُوا, those who disbelieved, أَفَلَمْ تَكُنْ آيَاتِي, were not our ayats, our signs, tutla alaykum, or ayati could also be translated as verses, were not our verses, tutla, again tutla from tilawa, tutla alaykum, recited upon you, fastakbartum, you were arrogant, you had pride, you were obstinate, wa kuntum qawman mujrim, mujrimin, and you were a criminal group of people. Wa idha qila inna wa'dallahi haqq, when it was said that indeed Allah's promise is true, was-sa'atu la rayba fiha, and the hour, there is no doubt in it. Qultum, you said, ma nadri mas-sa'a, we don't know what the hour is. We don't know what this day of judgment is. Inna dhunnu illa dhanna, we used to guess, we used to have our doubts. Wa ma nahnu bi mustayqinin, and we were not believers. See, on the day of judgment, you can't lie, right? It's going to become pretty. You can lie in this world as much as you want, but in the hereafter, game's up. وَبَدَى لَهُمْ سَيِّئَاتُ مَا عَمِلُوا, and وَبَدَى, it will become obvious, apparent to them, سَيِّئَاتُ مَا عَمِلُوا, the evil of what they have done, وَحَاقَ بِهِمْ مَا كَانُوا بِهِ يَسْتَهْزِئُونَ, and what they used to mock will encompass them, will cover them. They used to mock the hellfire, well, the hellfire will surround them. وَقِيلَ الْيَوْمِ, and it will be said, الْيَوْمِ, today, نَنْسَاكُمْ, we will forget you, كَمَا نَسِيتُمْ, like you forgot, لِقَاءَ يَوْمِكُمْ هَذَا, the meeting of this day. وَمَأْوَاكُمُ النَّارِ, and your destination, your abode, your final destination is the hellfire. وَمَا لَكُمْ مِن نَاصِرِينَ, and there are no helpers for you. ذَلِكُمْ بِأَنَّكُمْ اتَّخَذْتُمْ آيَاتِ اللَّهِ هُزُوًا, and that is because you took the verses of Allah, the signs of Allah, as a ridicule, as a joke. وَغَرَّتْكُمُ الْحَيَاةُ الدُّنْيَا, and this is the reason. Why did you mock the signs of Allah? وَغَرَّتْكُمُ الْحَيَاةُ الدُّنْيَا. This is it. This is Allah Azza wa Jal, like a doctor diagnoses the disease and says, this is the cause. وَغَرَّتْكُمُ الْحَيَاةُ الدُّنْيَا, the worldly life deceived you. You were in deception. فَالْيَوْمَ لَا يَخْرُجُونَ مِنْهَا, today you will not be taken out. Today you will not be taken out. They will not be taken out from Jahannam. وَلَا هُمْ يُسْتَعْتَبُونَ, nor will any amends be made. فَلِلَّهِ الْحَمْدُ, to Allah belongs all praise. رَبِّ السَّمَاوَاتِ وَرَبِّ الْأَرْضِ وَرَبِّ الْعَالَمِينَ, Lord of the heavens, Lord of the earth, and Lord of the worlds. وَلَهُ الْكِبْرِيَا, kibriya, again the word kibr. And to Him belongs what? Kibriya, greatness. فِي السَّمَاوَاتِ وَالْأَرْضِ, in the heavens and the earth. وَهُوَ الْعَزِيزُ الْحَكِيمُ, and He is mighty, and He's almighty and all wise. That is the end of Surah Jathiyah. Inshallah, we'll stop here. Inshallah, we'll start Surah Ahqaf. These are Makki surahs, one more Makki surahs that focus on Tawheed and the false beliefs of the mushrikeen of Makkah.
I have a question.
Yes.